Prepare to get gas because it's time for the Week in Gear. Now this show is dedicated to bringing you the most exciting guitar gear releases of the last 7 days. But this week, honestly, there was not a lot that fired up the gasometer. But my pick of the week is still fire. So this week we have 2 guitars you can't buy, a collaboration between a guitar company and a recording studio, and a bass. You might also have noticed that I am not in the new studio yet, even though last week I said I would be. Yeah, there were some hold-ups on that, so we get to spend one more week here. And the hold-up was definitely not because I was too emotional to leave. This episode is sponsored by PEAVEY. More about them in a bit. Now before we get into it, there is one thing that ties all the gear together this week. And if you think you know what it is, drop it in a comment. So for one final, last time for real this week, maybe, let's kick off this week's most exciting guitar gear releases with something that will make you go all starry-eyed. If you've ever looked at a guitar and thought, this is great, but what if part of it came from space? Well, Tom DeLonge has heard you, and he has acted. This is the Astra 10 of a kind Fender Starcasters, each one dipped in a clear coat infused with crushed meteorites. I'm talking literal fragments of the moon, pieces of Mars, asteroid 4 Vesta, and whatever other cosmic gravel that Tom has lying around. Each guitar also gets its own hand-drawn artwork from Tom himself. So you're basically buying a guitar built by Brian Thresher and a painting and a small chunk of the solar system all at once. Now, underneath all this cosmic glitter, it's still a Fender Starcaster, so we're still looking at that offset semi-hollow maple body with that center block inside to keep the feedback demons under control. It's also got the maple neck, the 25.5-inch scale version. Typically, this is a modern C profile, I think, but don't worry, I had one as an owner, it's actually quite comfortable with the regular Starcaster. And the pickup in here is a Seymour Duncan Custom SH5. And as far as I know, there are no major spec changes, either structurally or technically, but please don't take those specs I've just given you as gospel. Have a look for yourself. And I guess that's it, except that the wildness is all in the finish. Actually, I guess the biggest news is that these will be sold out by the time you see this. And I probably should have opened with that. Sorry. Actually, maybe you're one of the people that managed to pick one up. And if so, let us know in the comments. If you didn't, and you want to pretend that you did, you can do that as well. No one's going to stop you. When they were available, they were $3,500 each and only shipped within the USA. So it's more FOMO marketing from the big F. And actually, for the price, stick with me here, I think this is a pretty cool collectible, but I don't think it should be looked at as a guitar. And then, even though they are sold out, I will still put a link in the video description if you want to check that I got all, some, or none of the facts right. The gasometer rockets its way up to borrow it, because, let's face it, that is almost certainly our only option here. From one semi-hollow guitar that you cannot buy, to one more semi-hollow guitar that you cannot buy. Well, almost. There's one on Reverb for 55 grand. My affiliate link is in the video description. Shh. So, we're staying in the land of the ultra collectible non-player guitars here. This is the limited edition Dave Grohl DG335 in Alpine White. Only 50 exist. 50. Each one signed inside the guitar by Dave himself. And I have no idea how he got his fingers in there. It's got that semi-hollow 3-ply maple build with a solid maple center block, again, to keep those feedback monsters at bay. It's got an Indian rosewood board, Trini Lopez inspired diamond sound holes, and longer, pointier headstock. Yes. The pickups are unpotted custom buckers with vintage Alnico 3 magnets, which should give a warm, open slightly hairy tone that I love. And as for hardware, that's a Tone Pro bridge and stop bar to keep it all stable. The finish is, I guess, one of the big newses? News. The finish is big news. It's a glossy Alpine White nitrocellulose lacquer, and it looks like something that has escaped from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame gift shop. And in my humble opinion, I think it looks like an Epiphone. The price? Wait. 12,000 notes! Yes, 12,000. And it's already sold out everywhere because, of course it is. And if you blinked, you missed it. And if you didn't blink, you probably still missed it. If you somehow own one, congratulations. Sorry that I called it an Epiphone. Please store it in a temperature-controlled vault and check on it more often than your houseplants and sell it for 2,000% profit in 10 years' time. The gasometer fights its way up to wish list, but foos its way back down to borrow it, mainly for that joke. Links below, as usual, but mainly for emotional support. Now, enough of pointlessly talking about things we can't have. Let's talk about stuff we can have. Stuff from PEAVEY. Now, PEAVEY are one of those rare companies where you can walk into pretty much any rehearsal room in the world and you'll find something with a PEAVEY logo on it that is still functioning perfectly, even when everything else is held together with duct tape and hope. From metal to country to classic rock, PEAVEY gear is sprinkled throughout records across the decades. PEAVEY built PA rigs that survived more pub gigs than the pubs themselves. And whether it was Eddie Van Halen melting faces through a 5150, or your first school concert gig where everything was feeding back except the PEAVEY speakers, there is no denying the impact this brand had. Now, I realise I'm talking like it's all over for PEAVEY, and that couldn't be further from the truth, because even after 60 years of bringing the goods, PEAVEY in 2025 have brought out reimaginings and updates of old classics, plus new preamp pedals, and hopefully more to come in the next few months. And this week's sponsor section is simply a thank you to a company that's helped shape music for generations of musicians. And if you've ever plugged into a PEAVEY, you are part of that history. So yeah, thank you PEAVEY for all the gear from past, present and future, and thank you for sponsoring the Week in Gear. Now, if you enjoy this show, share it with a friend, share it with a bandmate, write PEAVEY on a napkin, and give it to a total stranger. It all helps. Now, on with the show. Now, for something a little more grounded, but still incredibly cool, and most importantly, it is available to buy, the PRS Fiore HH. When the original Fiore came out, it was Mark Lettieri's bright, articulate HSS machine, and I kind of fell in love with it. You got funk, fusion, and chord wizardry. So when PRS unveiled the HH version, my reaction was, really? Sorry, Mark Lettieri HH? Mark's playing humbuckers now? But it turns out he is. And actually it makes a lot of sense. If people want this. If Mark wants it. The Fiore HH keeps the Swamp Ash body, it keeps the bolt-on maple neck with the Fiore profile, which is sort of a slightly more comfortable, refined modern C, I am led to believe. And it keeps the 25.5-inch scale and the 10-inch fretboard radius, so it should still feel very stratty under the fingers. The change is the pickups. Instead of the HSS layout, you now get two Fiore H humbuckers. But PRS just didn't slap them in there and call it a day. No. Both tone knobs are push-pull switches that shift each humbucker between series and parallel wiring. What does that mean, Andy? Well, calm down. How did you find out my name? And I will tell you. So the series mode gives you what you paid for, the full, thick humbucker mode, while the parallel mode gives you a cleaner, snappier voice and gets you into the single core territory without the noise. So you effectively get 8 different pickup combinations before your amp even wakes up. Bridge-wise, you get the PRS 2-point steel vibrato, which stays in tune shockingly well for a non-locking system. The hardware includes PRS vintage style locking tuners, which helps with the tuning of course, and the body comes in multiple finishes with both gloss and satin options. The satin ones in particular look gorgeous. The red one, because it's red and the ash grain shows through, and I do like a nice piece of ash. The less exciting part is the price, which seems to land around 3,000 notes for the very high-end guitar that is a Strat. It's not the PRS that I would buy, but if you love the Fiore, but you wanted more beef, then this is the one. Would I buy it? No. Would I pay to watch Mark play it? Absolutely. The gasometer is another borrow it from me, but if your wallet is on fire, then there are links in the video description and possibly in the first comment if I remember to put it there. If it's not there, let me know please. Tell me I've been a fool, but be nice about it. What would you say if I told you that my pick of the week was almost a bass? Well, for a few days it was, because it was the most exciting thing that got released this week, until later in the week. But this is not just any bass, this is the Mike Dirnt Grabber G3 from Epiphone. Now this one hits home for me because I actually saw Green Day live just a few months ago. I took my son to his first gig. Green Day are his favourite band, they're one of my favourite bands, and we had an absolute blast, and it is amazing to have shared that with an 8-year-old boy. I took these photos and I was so excited because I thought one day maybe I get to show these photos on an episode of TWIG. And here we are. This is Mike Dirnt, and that is the bass that I'm talking about. And yes, he plays it as aggressively as you'd imagine. It was a really great show and worth every penny. The Epiphone Mike Dirnt Grabber G3 is a surprisingly serious instrument. The body is maple, true to the original Grabber heritage. The neck is a 3-piece maple unit with a C profile and a full 34-inch scale length. Now the fretboard is either maple or ebony depending on the finish, and has 20 medium jumbo frets with abalone dot inlays. Classic. And about those finishes, now they had to do the natural, but if you are going to create something new on a Grabber bass, then Silverburst is the way to go. But the real secret sauce is the triple pickup configuration. Those are 3 Gibson USA G3 single coils wired in the old school 1.5 system. So you can't actually get single coil tone from it stock, but with the toggle switch you can run neck plus middle or bridge plus middle, which effectively is giving you 2 humbucker tones, or in the middle position of the switch you can run all 3 pickups at once. However, it might be out of phase because it sounds a bit more quacky and a bit filtered. If you buy one, let us know in the comment section, please. Thank you. That is a Leo Quan Badass 2 bridge sitting right there at the back. And this is a hardcore piece of hardware. Loads of sustain, loads of attack, plus that's a string through body design which should tighten things even further. I am not a bass player. I do love playing bass, and I do love this bass. And I know it might not excite you, but as a Green Day and Nirvana fan, I love the Grabber basses, and this isn't some signature budget toy. It is a proper modern recreation of the original, but updated in all the right places. The price is, however, a little hard to swallow. This is certainly not Epiphone equivalent of Squire Classic Vibe or something like that. The Mike Dirnt signature Grabber G3 Epiphone bass will set you back around 1,300 notes. Which, on the one hand, seems fine, considering the hardware and the pickups, and the hard case, but on the other hand, it's an Epiphone bass, and it seems a bit much. Still. At least with the guitar you get 6 strings. I'm in love with the bass. I love Mike Dirnt's sound. It's kind of P-bassy, but not. And I would happily pick one of these Epiphones up, possibly used in a few months or a few years probably, but I wouldn't want to pay more than 800, possibly 900. But if you are a Green Day fan with bass in your mind and in your heart, and you want classic punk punch with some modern versatility and reliability, and the ability to shout "Hey-oh" more than 20 times a night, This is the bass. The gasometer rises to add to cart.
Andy's Pick of the Week!
This is it. My last pick of the week, possibly, in this room. The last one in this room, possibly. Maybe. Potentially. But at least it might be one of the coolest Gretsches that they've released in ages. The Abbey Road RS201 Studiomatic hollow body. First, the aesthetic. Walnut stained finish, gold hardware, ebony board, Bigsby tailpiece. The kind of guitar that makes you want to dress up nice just to play it. It's classy. The body is fully hollow with parallel tone bars inside, which adds some structural stability and also help control the low end. The top, back and sides are all maple, and the neck is also maple with a classic C profile. I don't know what that is. Scale length is 24.6 inches, which is weird, but that's also another Gretsch thing. That's a 12-inch radius fretboard, and it is ebony, and those are 22 medium jumbo frets. Hardware includes an Studiomatic bridge, which is mounted on an ebony base, and then the Bigsby is the B60 variant, which, well, it's basically the one that looks the coolest, let's be honest. Now the electronics. This is where things get spicy. The pickups are brand new custom Filtertrons that were voiced in collaboration with the engineers at Abbey Road Studios. Yes, the actual Abbey Road engineers. But then Gretsch added the rumble filter. Now this is a two-way rotary circuit which is paired with a push-pull tone pot, and the goal is simple. Remove unwanted low-end rumble and mud before it reaches the preamp. So if you record hollow bodies or semi-hollows, you might know how messy the low end can get, and the rumble filter cleans that up at the source. This is a really clever idea because there are so many great hollow body tones that can get lost in a mix due to that build up around the bass frequencies. This feature fixes that, hopefully without killing the character of the tone. But, however, Gretsch are not the only ones to do something like this, and I personally think that Reverend's bass roll-off solution is a little bit more versatile, but the rumble switch is cool. The price is surprisingly reasonable, which doesn't mean cheap, as it is just under 1,300 notes. But with the Abbey Road name, I thought it would be more, so I was surprised to see 1,300. I thought we'd be closer to 2,000. However, Gretsch haven't forgotten to add in a little touch of FOMO, because this is a limited edition model. But I don't know how limited it is, so possibly it's limited to millions. But if you need a guitar to match your smoking jacket, you better get your skates on, because it might be limited to 500. Let's have a look. The gasometer is well into buy it now, if it peels your banana. Okay, it is time for thanks. Thank you to these people who support the show on Patreon. Hello, everybody. And these people support the show right here on YouTube. Hello to you, and thank you as well. And here's a special thanks to the legends that are the top tier members. Alinta, Antonio Cruz Barreto, Buddha Blue, Boom Shakalokal, Buzzle, Dirk, Doug Paget, Yindrik Strelka, Johnny McBadminton, Kultur Matt, Mike Lute, Andrew Morgan, Gary O'Neill, holy moly, that's 8675309, Josh Tamberg, Mandude Bro, PQ Deads, Robin Kelly, Sarang Narayan, and Southern Panda 33. Thank you very much, top tier members. Now, don't forget to comment your pick of the week, and see you, hopefully, definitely, maybe, in the new studio next week. Bye-bye!